Hi, you guys. Welcome to Audrey's reading area. I want to shout out my grandbabies, Korea, Sanaa, David the Third, and Caden. I love you all so much, and I really, really miss y'all. Hmm. Alexa, what time is Audrey's reading area?
Audrey reads in her area live at 5, and please subscribe.
Live, live at 5. And please subscribe to Audrey's reading area on YouTube. Yes. All right, you guys. Don't forget to click like. Don't forget to share my videos. All right. On this Educational Tuesday, I have a very interesting book. It's called In Your Face. The Facts About Your Features. In Your Face by Donna M. Jackson. Donna M. Jackson. So let's see what's going on here. I have not read it in advance. So let's see what we got here. What do you see when you look in the mirror? Brown eyes, freckles, dimples. Let me read the book first and I'll go back to that part. Now, this is a long book, so I'm going to try to go through it quickly. It says about face. Fish faces. That's pretty much how we began, say scientists. Our human faces originated in the sea about 500 million years ago. Let's keep going. It says scientists say our faces originated in the sea about 500 million years ago. Pictured is a garbaldi fish. Garbaldi fish. I don't know. It says a worm-like animal about 1.5 inches long that swam above the ocean floor. It says this primitive mouth led to the development of creatures with primitive eyes that directed them to food, primitive noses that distinguish among odors, and primitive jaws that closed their mouths and kept food from floating away. Tour de face. Says fast forward through time, past the first reptiles who crawled out of the water and breathed air through tiny nostrils. I didn't know that's what this book said. Anyway, chimpanzees have similar skulls than humans and faces with muzzles and flat noses. Human faces display prominent chins and projecting noses. Tour de face. What distinguishes our faces from those of other animals? Specifically, our lack of heavy facial hair. Our faces are bare so others can read them, says Daniel McNeil. Let's keep going. That's from the mouth. Smiles, sighs, pouts, and yawns all spring from the mouth, which not only conveys a wide array of feelings, but also prevents us from starving our mouths because we put food through there to eat, right? The mouth eats, drinks, talks, and tastes. It dominates the face in most animals and is the first facial organ to form in human embryos. Interestingly, the human mouth is narrower than that of most other animals, possibly to keep contaminants out, says McNeil. Our mouths enable us to express many feelings. Our lips come in handy for kissing, and our tongue helps us to swallow food. The lips also work to protect our mouth from unwanted material. They're extremely sensitive and can detect a single hair trying to sneak in. While women's lips are generally fuller than men's, both amplify facial expressions and reveal clues as to what people are trying to tell us. Lining the mouth are our teeth, which gleam when we smile and capture people's attention. They're the strongest part of our face. The tongue, made up of many muscles, helps us to swallow, which we do about once a minute when we're not eating, and about 9 times a minute when we are, as says McNeil. As for our chins, They remain a mystery with no clearly defined purpose except to sharpen our profiles. But they say not by the hairs of my chinny chin chin, right? The eyes. Our eyes are often the first facial feature to capture people's attention. They blink an average of 4,200,000 times a year to keep moist. When we blink. So the brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes. The eyes are the most powerful and intimate part of the face, says McNeil. The visible portion of the eye has three interacting parts: the white, the iris, and the pupil. The iris, which gives our eyes their color, is a beautiful pair of muscles that works like a shutter and controls how much light can enter the eye through the pupil. See that? In the sun, the iris shrinks the pupil. In the dark, it expands it. It says our eyes are often I read that, didn't I? Framing our eyes are eyebrows, one of the most distinctive and expressive features. Some scientists believe that eyebrows may have helped our ancestors survive by keeping rain and sweat out of their eyes when predators chased them. Today we communicate everything from surprise to interest to anger by raising and lowering our eyebrows. Some people also pluck and shape their eyebrows to make their eyes appear larger. The nose. So sitting in the center of our face is the nose, which grows throughout our lifetime and consists primarily of a tough elastic tissue called cartilage. Cartilage is like a bendable bone. Noses can vary from culture to culture and come in all shapes and sizes: flat, thin, wide, narrow, big tip, little tip, etc. One reason they often differ among cultures is environmental. Large, narrow noses work well in desert climates by giving air more time to moisten before it reaches the lungs. And short, broad noses work best in humid environments, where they move already moist air to the lungs more quickly. The nose's importance is reflected in our language, says plastic surgeon Dr. Stephen Dannenberg. We may look down our noses at someone or turn it up at something. Sometimes we can't see beyond it, or we even cut it off to spite our face. We keep it to the grindstone, poke it into other people's business, pay through it, and lead someone around by it. Someone may follow his nose, win by a nose, guess your age on the nose, rub noses with someone, or just be nosy. It's as plain as the nose on your face. Our noses come in all shapes and sizes and are mostly made of cartilage. Yes, the skin. Talking about the skin now. Here's our nose. Here's our eyes. Nose. So like the nose, our skin color is a response to our environment. Melanin, nature's sunscreen. Colors our skin to protect it from burning in the sun. Having a lot of melanin makes skin dark, and having a little makes it lighter. Until about 100,000 years ago, our ancestors were all black-skinned in response to their environment. Shout out to Black History Month, by the way, you guys. It continues. The sunny deserts of Africa. As people migrated out of Africa into colder, less sunny climates, their skin turned lighter to drink in more of the sun's rays and more easily produce vitamin D, which is necessary to absorb calcium and build strong bones. The skin is our body's waterproof temperature regulator and protector against viruses and infections. is the largest organ of the body. Our skin is the largest organ of our bodies. Did y'all know that? Now you know. Containing millions of nerve glands, blood vessels, and hair follicles. Every minute, thousands of skin cells flake away from our skin. That's how dogs sniff us out. The thinnest skin on our bodies, it covers our eyelids. So our eyelids have the thinnest skin on our bodies. Foreheads, ears, and hair. Our foreheads top off our faces and are an area long associated with intellect. Wow, I must be real intelligent, huh? Big old forehead. One reason may be because our forehead lies the part of the brain that controls emotions and decision making, the frontal cortex. Men's foreheads typically slant back slightly, while women's rise upward. In India, people who belong to the Hindu religion wear a bright red vermilion mark on their forehead called a tilaka. The tilaka, which means mark, comes in various shapes and sizes to correspond with the different Hindu sect. Some believe that the red color of the tilaka symbolizes blood. The ears sandwich our face, with flaps made of cartilage and lobes filled with fatty tissue. Like fingerprints, they carry a unique pattern of contours and cartilage that can be used for identification. Did y'all know that your ears could be used for identification? Framing our faces are about 100,000 strands of straight, curly, or wavy hair that we style in many different ways. The color, texture, and thickness of our hair is determined by our genes, as is whether or not we go bald. Determined by your genes. Genetics also decide how quickly and how long our hair grows. Generally, a teenager's hair grows faster than an adult's hair. In addition, ethnicity plays a role in determining the type of hair that grows on our heads. Asian hair is typically black and straight, while African hair is generally brown and kinky. Beards and mustaches may be the most baffling facial features of all, says the face author McNeil. Some scientists believe they're a leftover, primitive way of helping men show their virility and intimidating the competition. Alternatively, they may be here for deception. Putting together our facial features that we just talked about form the basis of our fascinating faces, giving us a one-of-a-kind identity that we use to communicate with the world. Yes, facial identity. While identical twins share the same genes, their faces still differ to some degree. Nature makes babies especially attractive to trigger a nurturing response in caregivers. Oh, cute. 6 billion faces in the world, and like snowflakes, no two are exactly the same. That's right. Comes from our genes. So from birth, a boy's head is generally larger than a girl's. Men tend to have larger jaws than females, a relatively low slanted forehead, and a thick bony ridge above their eyes that make the eyes appear deep set. Men's eyebrows also grow heavier, and their noses sit longer and wider in proportion to their face. With the onset of puberty, they grow facial hair, and their skin coarsens in response to increased testosterone levels. Women, on the other hand, possess smooth-skinned faces on heads that typically are about 2/3 the size of a male's. A woman's forehead, don't be talking about my forehead, y'all. A woman's forehead generally rises upward and her eyebrows sit higher. making her eyes seem larger and more prominent than a man's. Her lips and cheeks are also fuller, and her overall skin tone is usually lighter than that of the males of her race. The lighter skin may be in nature's way of indicating fertility because a woman's skin darkens during pregnancy. That is so true. Faces not only reveal our gender, they give away our age. Babies, for example, typically have faces with plump cheeks. I guess I'm a baby because I have plump cheeks, right? Large foreheads, small chins, white eyes, and turned up noses. Nature makes infants especially appealing so adults will nurture them until they can survive on their own. As babies grow and become less dependent on adults for survival, their faces mature and become more childlike, often with missing teeth and freckles. Teenagers and young adults have faces some consider to be at the peak of their beauty, while adult faces generally look mature with proportionally smaller foreheads and eyes and more prominent cheeks and chins than baby faces. So it says the aging process. Number one, Henry A. King as a toddler. This is him, 12 years old in 1918. As a 22-year-old medical student in 1928. 36 years old in the Army Medical Corps in 1942. And 62 years old in 1968. This is him as a baby, and this is him as he grew old. So these are the steps, the stages, that process, the aging process. Overgeneralizing traits talks about adults with baby faces often are viewed by others as warmer and more approachable. Right? If you want to read, it says don't judge a book by its cover, but you can always pause and read. Missing faces. Wow. Our first impressions of people originate from the face. But what happens when the face belongs to a missing child? One whose facial features are still developing. How do we project what the child's face will look like 1, 2, or 10 years down the line? One way is to age progress the face, a technique that organizations such as the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which is the NCMEC, employ to help them find children who have been missing for a number of years. After some time has passed, it's very hard for people to picture what a toddler would look like as a 10 or 13-year-old and be able to recognize them, says forensic imaging specialist Steve Lofton. By developing an image that's close to capturing some of the present characteristics of the child, we hope to provide enough information so that someone who sees the child would at least question who it is. 5-year-old Victor Shoemaker Jr. disappeared in May of 1994 while playing with his cousins in a wooded area near Short Mountain in Kirby, West Virginia. Oh, wow. This is him as a kid, and this looks like him progressing. Victor Shoemaker, age 5, 2 and 3. Photos of Victor's parents as children. Can you see? This is him at age 5. This is his parents. So it looks like they put them together. Victor's parents as children add to the accuracy of the progression process. The picture number 4, the forensic image specialist approximates facial growth for Victor's current age and stretches the face appropriately. Then he merges features from Victor's parents. Wow. The split image shows how he merged Victor's face with his dad's face as a child. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So pictures 5 and 6. Yep. Victor's eyes and nose were similar to his mom's features, so they were merged with his image. They merged, the mom's eyes and nose with his image. Victor's face progressed to age 13. That's how they do the facial progression. Oh, wow. Facial recognition. Let me let you see that. You can Pause and read. And pause and read. Facial recognition, the ability to recognize ourselves and the faces of others, friends, family, celebrities, and acquaintances, affects our lives in profound ways. But how does the brain distinguish among all the different faces we see in a lifetime? Are we just the boy with freckles and green eyes or the girl with wavy brown hair? Not at all. According to researchers, our brains process faces as a whole, noting overall patterns of light and dark, as well as the spacing relationships among our features. Face prints. No doubt, our faces are unique. So unique that computers can tell them apart in a crowd. Wow. Today, with facial recognition technologies, banks verify automated teller ATM machines, casinos identify cheating gamblers, in cities such as Virginia Beach, Virginia, they spot criminals and missing children in busy outdoor venues. 2001, officials even used the technology at Super Bowl, 35 in Tampa Bay, Florida, to scan the crowd of 100,000 for potential terrorists. An event that some people protested as an invasion of privacy called it the Snooper Bowl. Wow. So again, you can read, pause, and read. Unfamiliar faces. One special group of people has difficulty recognizing any faces. They are oh my goodness, here we go with this word. It's a long word. See if you can pronounce prosopagnostics. Prosopagnostics. And until recently, their plight was a lonely and frustrating one. Cecilia Berman has a rare disorder called prosopagnosia, or face blindness. Cecilia Berman sees her friends and family perfectly well. The problem is she doesn't recognize their faces. Cecilia is one of a rare group of people who have a neurological condition called prosopagnosia, or face blindness. Prosopagnosia is derived from the Greek word for face, prosopon, combined with the medical term for recognition impairment, agnosia. Normally, when we see a person, our brain searches its library of known faces to try to find a match. This is so interesting to me. To try to find a match and identify the individual, explains Cecilia. When it finds a match, it uses the identity to look up other information about a person, such as his or her name, the last time you met, and so on. Face blindness occurs when the areas in the brain that are responsible for identifying and recognizing people fail. Sort of like this picture here. It says, this is a simulated view of what Cecilia sees of her husband, Hans' face. Can't recognize his face. Wow. Interesting. So go ahead and pause and read. Pause and read. Search for answers. Pause and read. Pause and read. She says, I have problems recognizing people I have seen only a few times. When I feel I need to remember someone, I rehearse that person's features and name over and over again. If I don't rehearse, I do not remember the looks of the person at all. Wow. The two groups of people Cecilia feels most comfortable with are those she knows very well, and complete strangers. You can pause it and read it. So when Cecilia was 25, she discovered the medical term for face blindness, which is prosopagnosia. prosopagnosia, and anxiety, set out to learn more. Unfortunately, the only cases referenced in the medical journals that she read involved people who were so badly afflicted by face blindness and other conditions that they could barely function in society. This wasn't her experience. She did learn, however, that there was no cure for that condition, a fact that remains true today. Wow. Pause and read. Finally, Cecilia had found someone who understands her condition. It was such a relief that for weeks I couldn't talk about it without tears welling up, she says. This is interesting. I immediately showed Face Blind to my husband and then 2 days later to his parents. Within hours, I felt they actually understood my problem. As much as you can understand without experiencing it yourself. Wow. So today, Celia hosts a website to educate people about face blindness and to share her story. She's also part of an internet mailing list called The Face Blind Folks. Interesting. See, we are learning something on this Educational Tuesday, aren't we? Until a few years ago, I had been completely alone in my problems, Cecilia. Now when I'm in contact with other prosopagnostics, it's as if a great weight is being lifted. Wow, interesting. Language of expressions, you guys. Smiles, smirks, and stares. I used to do with my daughter. I used to have her do a happy face, and she would smile. Do a sad face, and she'd go. Do a scared face. She would do scared, right? So little things like that just kind of made me laugh. What's the big deal to practice those with her? And so in this book, it talks about language of expressions. Smiles, smirks, stares. Faces communicate a rich language all their own. While crocodiles command only 4 facial expressions, humans boast an intricately woven set of facial muscles that allows us to make as many as 10,000 different expressions. Whoa. 10,000 different facial expressions. Only about 7 appear to be biologically based and universally recognized. Anger. Anger. I'm mad. Right? Happiness. And contempt. But many variations exist. Oh, it says anger, happiness, disgust. Like disgust. Then there is surprise. Right? Then there is fear. Fear. Oh my goodness. Then there's sadness. Right? And contempt. But many variations exist. From birth, humans exhibit emotions during the first 3 months of life. Look at this baby here with all these different emotional faces. Babies display a variety of facial expressions from birth. I knew they had to put Jim Carrey in this book. He and his facial expressions are a mess. That means funny to me. Babies scrunch their faces and cry in distress. They squint, they wrinkle their noses when they're disgusted, and raise their rosy cheeks in a smile when they're happy. So you can read on. Pause and read. White Lies and Alibis. Pause and read. Actor Jim Carrey is a master of facial expression. Oh, yes, he is. You guys can pause and read this too. Pause and read. It says, if actors and others can sometimes fake expressions, how can we tell that someone's lying to us? Half the time we can't, says Dr. Ekman in his book, Emotions Revealed. He found that most of us, including police officers and judges, have only a 50-50 chance of spotting a liar. And that the only people who consistently detect liars were Secret Service agents. What clues do they pick up in people's faces that the rest of us miss? I wonder. You can pause and read about it. Micro expressions. Special smiles. Pause and read. It says facial expressions say much about who we are and how we're feeling, but some people are born with a condition called Mobius syndrome, which prevents them from communicating to others with their face. Oh, I have the total opposite. My face tells all on me. My face says everything. People can look at my face and be like, "For real, are you okay?" Or, "That was wrong." I'd be like, "No, that's not what my face meant." So imagine being born without the ability to smile, without a way to express your happiness to your mom or your dad, your brothers and sisters, and your friends. Wow. People with Mobius syndrome come into the world without a smile. Wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know people can't smile. Some people can't smile. Mobius syndrome is a rare and little known disorder that robs people of facial expressions because two important nerves, the sixth and seventh cranial nerves, which control eye muscle and face movement, are either inactive or not fully developed. I did not know that. Maybe that's why some people don't smile at us. This leaves the face paralyzed, unable to grin with delight or frown in sadness. In most cases, people with Mobius syndrome cannot squint, blink, or move their eyes from side to side. I can move my eyes from side to side. I can do it. I can even do it one at a time, like this, side to side. Right? Feeding can also be an issue for babies who have difficulty drinking from a bottle or a breast. They require a special bottle called the Haberman feeder, which gently releases liquid into their mouth at the slightest touch of the tongue. I did not know about this. My mom's here. Mom, did you know about this? I did not know. Did you know, Mom? I didn't know about this. Wow. Vicky McCarroll's son, Sean, came into the world without a smile 13 years ago, and she wasn't quite sure what to do. Oh, Lauren Devaney before smile surgery. Lauren's kindergarten photo after the operation. She couldn't smile. She had an operation to allow her to smile. Had to loosen up some of those muscles, I'm guessing. Wow. You sneak peeks at your baby all day long, hoping to catch a first smile. It never comes. Slowly, you realize it never will. You wonder how other children and adults will treat him. Then you search for other families affected by this rare occurrence. That first year, Vicky found about 30 families affected by Mobius syndrome, but no support group existed for the condition. So she and a friend, whose daughter Chelsea also has Mobius syndrome, began publishing an informational newsletter in 1991. Wow. Wow. You can read. Pause and read. Pause and read. Wow. So interesting. Marks of beauty. Marks of beauty. They call it beauty marks? If truth is beauty, how come no one has their hair done in a library? Comedian Lily Tomlin said that. Beautiful faces. People everywhere seem to want them. Cosmetic companies earn billions of dollars each year selling everything from lip gloss to pimple cream. Magazines feature attractive models and offer beauty tips on shaping eyebrows and accentuating cheekbones. Stylists design hair to frame the shape of the face, and color specialists match clothing to complement skin tones. Wow. Why do looks matter so much? Here, you guys, pause and read. Pause and read. It says beauty is as important to us as food and water. Wow, suggests Dr. Nancy Etkoff in her book. Yeah, another one. Pause and read. Beauty through the ages. Hmm. The ancient Egyptians, who lived from about 3300 to 30 BC, meticulously painted their faces, creating almond shaped eyes with a dark pigment called kohl, reddening their cheeks and lips with rouge, and slipping on stylish black wigs over their shaved heads. Roman men and women circa 400 AD dyed their hair blonde and viewed the unibrow, eyebrows that meet over the nose, like they connect, as a sign of beauty. I knew I thought those were cute. When I see guys with the unibrow, I think it's so cute. In the Middle Ages, upper class European women bled themselves to look pale so that others saw they were rich enough not to work outdoors. Meanwhile, Asian women painted their faces white and blackened their teeth. They painted their faces white and they blackened their teeth. And we spend all this money on whitening our teeth, right? In Japan, tooth blackening, known as ohagura, was practiced to make a woman more appealing. Let me read this. In Japan, geisha girls paint their faces white and their lips red to enhance their beauty. Geisha girls, or geisha. So while chemicals in the blackening solution help prevent tooth decay. Oh wow. So you can pause this and read it. Pause and read. Look at this guy, face painting and tattoos. Many children enjoy having their faces painted at community events. This lion, I was going to call it a tiger, right? This lion looks ready to roar. I don't know. It's got little stripes on the side. I'm going to say it's a tiger. So look at this. Pause and read. Pause and read. This picture says the Maori tribesmen of New Zealand used moko to distinguish between different social classes. Interesting. Interesting. And then it talks about piercing, but you can pause and read. Pause and read. That's another popular form of face decorating is piercing. Saving faces. Lend me your eyes and ears, the teacher called to her class. Lend me your eyes and ears. Which one do you want? Replied Michael Munns, unclipping a prosthetic ear from the side of his head. Prosthetic ear. Wow. Not exactly what his teacher had in mind, but the 14-year-old from Denver, Colorado, likes to maintain a sense of humor about his situation. Michael was born with Treacher-Collins syndrome. It's a genetic condition that affects the head and face. People with Treacher-Collins syndrome generally display characteristics such as downward slanting eyes. Downward slanting eyes. Wow. A small lower jaw, underdeveloped cheekbones, and malformed or missing ears. Most who are affected, like Michael, possess a normal intelligence. However, their appearance can sometimes lead people to believe otherwise. During Michael's elementary school years, surgeons reconstructed his cheekbones and his chin from parts of his ribs. But they could not replace his missing ears. That job eventually would fall to Barbara Sponlillo. Sponlillo is an anaplastologist who uses her knowledge of art, anatomy, and science to create custom prostheses, artificial parts, for people with facial disfigurement. Wow, and you can read about what she says. Interesting. Read about this and then read about Master of Illusion. This is her creating a prosthetic face is molded around the eyes. Interesting. Please pause and read. Pause and read. This is some interesting stuff. So it says, best face forward. It says, the butterfly baby and her parents, after several operations to rebuild the toddler's face from disfigurement. Oh, the butterfly baby. Best face forward. Go ahead and pause and read. More faces, more face facts to explore. Okay. So I guess that's the end of this book. They have a face glossary, which you can pause and read. Face glossary. And some more words that are so interesting when you learn new words. Interesting. If I had more time, I would read all the words. Just don't have the time. Well, that's the end. I'm loving it. So this is the back of the book. Remember, Donna, this book is by Donna M. Jackson. And it has, I'm going to read you something. What do you see when you look in the mirror? You can pause and read it with me. It says, what you see is your face, a one-of-a-kind, yet familiar body part. Your face is an important part of who you are. On the outside, it's what makes you, you. But how much do you really know about it? In your face, the facts about your features is your guide to the human face. From explaining how your eyes, ears, mouth, and nose work, to exploring how different cultures define beauty, this book reveals the many different faces or facets of the face. Discover how facial recognition technology helps find missing people. Didn't we read about that? That was so interesting. And why you can make 10,000 different facial expressions. Meet Cecilia Berman, who has a disorder called face blindness, which prevents her from recognizing faces. And Lauren Devaney, who couldn't smile at all until she had pioneering smile surgery. Illustrated with eye-catching, full-color photos and written by award-winning author Donna M. Jackson, this is a fresh and fascinating tour of the face. Wow. I really like this book. In Your Face, the facts about your features. Wow. Thank you for being here. Thanks, Mom. I see ya. Thanks for being here. Wow. I learned a lot on this Educational Tuesday. I learned a lot from this book, and I hope you guys did too. I hope you found all of this book, like interesting. If not, I hope you found some of the parts interesting. Hope you can use that to help you decide on what you want to be when you grow up, right? Yes. So thank you for being here and listening. Thanks, Mom. Thank you all for sharing my videos, right? You like it? Click like, Mom. And share and post my video, Mom, and everybody. And thank you to my girl, Victoria. She shares my videos every day. Thank you. And thank you for going to YouTube, looking for Audrey's Reading Area, and smashing that subscribe button. All right, you guys. See you tomorrow, right? Live, Live, live at 5 tomorrow here at Audrey's Reading Area. Tomorrow.